Ever wonder what your last moments will look like? Not the medical kind, the cosmic kind.
I ended up in this place that was blue. It was the color of sort of sky, cornflower blue.
I could just think it. And then it was like, as soon as I thought the question, I received the answer from
I
it.
didn't feel like I was alone. I felt like I was just part of something, that there was this infinite presence.
I remember saying, "What is this thing?" I said that out loud. And a disembodied voice responded within my consciousness, and it stayed with me throughout the entire experience. It said, "This is the future birthing into the now."
Across thousands of near-death experiences, people describe the same things. Stars, tunnels, a light that feels like home.
It was like infinite number of light beings were going towards this light. And it was so beautiful and so loving. And it was just like, I was going with them.
And whether you think it's brain chemistry, soul travel, or something in between, it's weird how consistent these stories are. It's such a popular topic, there have been tons of movies made about the afterlife.
Here they come. Lucky bastard.
Yes. You died.
So what happens when everything you know as real fades and something else, something bigger, starts to glow? Let's find out. Welcome back to Thinking and Being. If you like what you see today, please go ahead and like and subscribe, as this will enable you to see more content from myself and others just like this. And I plan to be on YouTube for the next 50 years, maybe 60. So either way, you're gonna have to deal with me, so just click all the buttons. So why did I choose this particular topic? This channel has always tried to explore the edges between thinking and being, science, and soul. Near-death experiences sit right at that boundary. They force us to ask, is consciousness created by the brain, or does the brain just tune to it? When people describe floating through galaxies or hearing voices made of light, they're not just describing death, they're describing the structure of reality itself. And if reality keeps going after the body stops, maybe our idea of life is just too small. And there's reasons why understanding death helps you live. Every culture has wrestled with death, not as an end, but a mirror. The Stoics said to learn to die is to unlearn fear. Buddhists meditate on impermanence to break attachment. And psychologists find that people who accept mortality tend to live with more gratitude and clarity. When you stop flinching at death, you stop flinching at life. Understanding death doesn't make you morbid, it makes you awake. So let's get into it and start understanding.
And the first thing that happened when I let go was, instead of being negative, it was this incredible, blissful peace. I felt calm. I felt serene. I felt a kind of ease that I've never felt ever since.
First, there's the gateway. Almost every NDE begins the same way, separation. A sound, a hum, maybe a click, then suddenly you're above yourself. Hospitals fade, gravity turns optional, and people describe floating through space like weightless observers. No pain, no direction, just strange peace. It's as if the system that kept your consciousness localized releases it. From there, the journey begins.
They're really close to cutting into me with their tools, and I was still awake. And in the flash of a second, I was just floating above the scene. And I saw myself on the operating table from this above place. My body turned this almost like a bruise-like purple, and then this corpse-like white.
Then there's stars, orbs, and light. Not just a single beam, but a field of light and orbs or stars. People describe stars floating in every direction, spheres of energy that shimmer like thoughts taking shape. Some say it's like drifting through a cosmic sea. Others call it the dark light, a brightness that somehow contains shadow. Physics says we can't see without photons, but maybe this is something else, the light of awareness itself, folding in on itself to say, welcome back. Then there's sound, often voices. Except it isn't sound, it's understanding. A voice without words, telepathic and exact, giving calm direction. You're safe. Keep going. There's more to see. People describe the tone as commanding, but never fearful, like a parent guiding a child through a doorway. It's interesting. Every major religion describes creation as speech, logos, the word. Maybe that's not a metaphor. Maybe consciousness really does speak in frequency. And then there's the tunnel, the classic image. A corridor, circular, infinite, with a bright pulse at the end. Some fly through it, others float, but almost all describe a pull, not gravity, but belonging. Neurologists call it hypoxia in the visual cortex. Mystics call it rebirth. Either way, it's the same message. You're on your way somewhere that you've already been.
An opening opened up that looked very dark and kind of like a cave or a tunnel. And I was like sucked into this dark cave. And once I was in there, it seemed as though I went into much, much faster speed than I had already been moving.
And then there's warping of space and time. Inside this passage, time breaks. Seconds feel like centuries, and space folds like paper. People say they see their whole life, or every life, suspended around them, as if this moment itself is infinite. In physics, time and space are bound. In near-death experiences, or NDEs, they're gone. But maybe that's what eternity really means, not forever, but outside.
And it blew my mind. Like, if someone had told me it had been 5 years or a decade, I would have been completely on point with that.
Then come the presences of beings made of light, energy, or pure intent. Sometimes robed, sometimes radiant, always loving. They don't speak, but you know what they mean. They radiate peace so thick you can feel it like warmth. Religious people see angels, others see relatives. Skeptics might say this is just association, but love, in its purest form, is unmistakable. And that's what most people report. Love so total that it dissolves any fear they had.
Someone's hair, it's almost touching the ground. It's long, it's silvery white, and I noticed also the bottom of their robe. So I turned to look at the being, and their face is all white. And as I look at them, I'm being pulled in.
And then NDEs often involve the dissolving of self. Here, something deeper happens. Your identity melts. The I dissolves into everything. You realize you were never a person inside a universe. You were the universe pretending to be a person. People call it oneness or unity or the great merging. It sounds poetic until you realize how consistent it is. Maybe death doesn't erase you. Maybe it just reveals you.
I lost a sense of my person, my identity as Callie, or connection to my life, even my children. But I was like awareness knowing itself. It was like I became part of everything. And I felt an immediate dissolving away of anything, obviously physical, but also any identity.
And then there's the setting and the environment, often looking like a beautiful gardens and an insanely immaculate city. So there's a shift from light to some place. A garden brighter than daylight, flowers that hum, colors outside our visible range. Some walk through vast courtyards, by great pillars, ornate decorated walls. Others see gates or arches that feel alive. It's not heaven in the storybook sense, it's order. A structured beauty, as if consciousness built architecture just to admire itself.
Lush leaves off in the distance, just absolutely gorgeous. And what I realized then was that everything I was looking at, from the grass to the flowers to the trees to the leaves, everything was lit from within.
And then there is often reunion. You see them, people you loved, people you forgot you loved, and even pets. They look younger, whole, glowing in their best version. No small talk, no confusion, just instant recognition and understanding. For a moment, the human story folds back into a single family reunion across time. Some say this is when the real emotion hits, not awe, but belonging. It's less about seeing the dead and more about remembering you were never separate. And then there's often a life review. It's not Judgment Day, it's a playback. People describe their lives replaying like a movie, but from every angle. You don't just see what you did, you feel how others felt because of you. Every small act, kindness, cruelty, neglect, ripples outward in color and sensation. It's not punishment, it's just understanding. Maybe this is what accountability feels like when you remove shame. Seeing cause and effect as one continuous system where nothing is ever lost.
It was exactly what people talk about with the life review, in that I saw most of my life going by like a movie. I saw good and bad.
It wasn't very detailed, but there was just like this series of images that went about what it was meant to live from my heart.
And then comes the all-knowing, instant, total, and a bit overwhelming. Every question answered at once, not in sentences, but just in understanding, in feeling. Why you were born, why pain matters, why it had to be this way. You suddenly get it all. The hidden geometry behind joy and disaster. And just as quickly, it fades because human memory can't hold infinity. It's like the universe handed you the answers, but only long enough to remind you there are answers.
I'm seeing things that, I had sight beyond sight. It's that all-knowing moment where you know all and be all with everything, everything's connected. The love and the light coming off the grass and everything around me is just indescribable.
And then often there is a choice. Almost every NDE story ends here, a conversation or a feeling that it's time to decide. A voice that says you can stay or go back. Most don't want to return. It's often too peaceful, too right. But then they think of a child or a friend, a neglected body, unfinished work, and suddenly they're falling back into the body, gasping. What's wild is the grief, not for dying, but for leaving the place they were at in the afterlife.
Being told it's time to go back and being crushed, just emotionally distraught that I would have to go back. And I won't say it was a hand, but it was like a force.
Maybe the real test isn't dying. It's remembering what you saw once you are alive again. And then there's typically the same aftermath. People who come back aren't the same. They're calmer, more pensive, kinder, enlightened, relieved, trying to describe colors we don't have names for. But mostly, they lose their fear of death. One said, "It's not that I learned something new, it's that I unlearned everything false." After an NDE, small problems shrink, big questions expand, and life starts to feel like the warm-up before the main event. And then often in NDEs, spirit guides or beings that they talk to in their experience often talk about the work that they have to continue on Earth. And what is that work that we should be doing on Earth? And I want to tie this back to previous episodes that I've done on this channel. Think about the double slit experiment. Reality sits as probabilities until an observer participates. NDEs hint that consciousness isn't a passenger, it's a measuring device. If that's true, then the work that we should be doing is intentional observation, choosing what we attend to so you collapse the futures you actually want. That life review, it looks almost like an interference pattern of our choices. Constructive where we loved, destructive where we ignored. In plain terms, the frequency you get in is the frequency you put out. What you broadcast, attention, tone, care, coherently shapes what you receive. Maybe coming back means becoming a better observer on purpose. And then if consciousness is a system, then love is its low entropy state. Information flows freely, nothing is hoarded or hidden. NDEs show a world where feedback is instant. You feel your impact as others felt it. Back here, feedback is slower and perhaps not as obvious, but the loop still runs. So the assignment might be reduce local entropy, repair breaks, tell truer stories, pass cleaner signals, let go of burdens, and spread understanding. In practice, refine your signal. Habits, craft, kindness, refine your loops. Listen, adjust, try again, like that cybernetic loop we've talked about in previous videos, and refine your maps, those beliefs that let you adapt. In an AI-saturated era, guarding your attention may be the most sacred work of all. So maybe death isn't an ending. Maybe it's a reunion, a reset, or just a reminder that consciousness doesn't fit in a skull. What if this, all of this, is just one level of a game? And what if the point isn't to escape it, but to play it well while you're here? People say you see your life flash before your eyes when you die, but maybe that's because for the first time you're finally watching it. What do you think happens next? Thanks for watching today. My 3 key takeaways are: we don't die into darkness, we collapse into clarity. Next, the work we should be doing isn't to escape reality, it's to tune to it. And last, love is low entropy. It keeps the system alive. So what do you think? What NDE themes did I miss? Comment below and tell us. If you like what you saw today, please go ahead and like and subscribe, as it'll keep this content coming your way. And stay tuned for more content ranging from consciousness to physics, philosophy to psychology, as well as the intersection between that affects your thinking and being. Until then, keep thinking and being, and do not go gentle into that good night, which is an afterlife reference.